what's up you guys? Marty Schwartz here with Marty Music, and I'm so stoked to have just finished a brand new course on the modes. Tons of requests for that, so I've spent the last few months putting this together. It's over 15 hours of instruction, and it's all tabbed out with the diagrams, everything you need. The link is below. It's going to retail for $240, but for the next 4 days, I've got it 50% off, $120 for those of you that can't do the math, and you can also do a 3-payment option. I'm also picking 3 comments that I'm going to send this course to, so be sure to leave a comment for a chance to win this course. So my new modes course is 15 hours long, but in this video, I'm gonna use this time to try and break down all the modes in 5 minutes. All right, so we have a thing called the major scale. And in the olden days, guitar players would learn the C major scale as the very first thing they would learn. Unfortunately, it wasn't 035, but I've helped change that. Anyway, everyone is familiar with the C major scale, whether you're a musician or not. Our very first nursery rhymes, the alphabet song, all of that comes from that do, re, mi scale. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna make it sound like 7 different scales, which is what the modes are. They're different functions of the same scale. So if you hear this, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. There's 7 notes there. And within those 7 notes, for each of the notes, there's a root for a chord that fits in that key. So if I just played that scale and I started with a C major progression, it's going to be the C major scale, the first mode, which is called C Ionian. And here is the first mode. So that's mode number 1. Without having to change anything, I'm just going to take the second note of the scale, which is a D note, and I'm going to use that and hear that as the home base, the root, the tonal center, and I'm going to play it over the chord that fits for that note. It's a D minor chord, so I can play the same scale, but now over a D minor chord, and the second note now feels like home, and it changes how we hear those 7 notes. So here's a D minor chord. And I can play the same scale as I was before, but now with just the second note as home base, and it's now called D Dorian. Haven't changed a thing. Only what we're hearing as home base. So that was the second mode, D Dorian. So that was the first 2 modes. The third mode is called Phrygian, and it's what we hear in flamenco music all the time. It sounds like this. Once again, nothing's changed other than what we're using as the root. Same scale. The fourth mode is called Lydian, and it's not a very common mode for rock and roll, but you hear it all the time in cinematic scores and TV theme songs. So this would be called F Lydian. Nothing has changed. Now the fifth mode is my favorite mode, and it's used the most in that kind of funky soul, blues, jam, music, all that stuff. It's Mixolydian. You've probably heard that term, but G Mixolydian is just the exact same thing as that C major scale. You play it over a G7 chord, it sounds a little something like this. I'll kick it. The sixth mode is called Aeolian. It's also known, though, as the natural minor scale. It's the minor scale. So we would play in this spot with this scale, we would play it over A minor, and now we have just the straight up minor scale. Aeolian, Aeolian. Now, the pentatonics are underneath all the modes, and I explain all of that in the course. So there's a direct connection to the pentatonics that hopefully you know some already, but I break that down in the course. So we have the final mode, and the good news is it's actually really never used in mainstream music. It's called the Locrian mode, and really you're only going to hear it in these very specific jazz settings. But you're going to hear all of a sudden a jazz sounding scale, and I haven't changed a thing other than what the root is. So this is B Locrian, B Locrian, B-E-L-O-C-R-I-A-N, B Locrian. All right, here we go. It's over a jazzy, more jazzy chord. So that was all 7 modes done very quickly, but the good news is in mainstream music, rock, pop, there's really only 4 of those modes that you're going to see about 95% of the time. And so in the modes course, that's where I spend the most time showing you the true applications that you can use all the time. Now I break them all down, but we spend a lot more focus on what you can use. All right, you guys. That was the crash course Cliff Notes version of explaining the modes, but don't forget, I've got this brand new course that's 15 hours of instruction with tabs, diagrams. You won't regret it. It's, you know, the most time I've put into any course. I'm really excited for you to check it out. I think it'll really help your playing. Once again, it's gonna retail for $240, but for the next 4 days, it's 50% off. There's also gonna be a 3 payment option, so check that link below. Also, I'm picking 3 comments to win this course, so don't forget to leave a comment. Thanks again for supporting. We'll see you soon.